I was 22 when my life imploded. At that age, I thought the worst thing I'd ever have to worry about was student loans or how to scrape together enough money for gas. Instead, I ended up branded as the kind of person who betrays his own family. Back then, I was in grad school 2 states away. My sister Melissa, 3 years older than me, had just celebrated her first wedding anniversary with her husband Tom. From the outside, they looked like a golden couple. Big house, steady jobs, a marriage straight out of a Hallmark card. I admired them both, honestly. Melissa was always the responsible one in our family, the first to graduate, the first to marry. I thought she had it all figured out. That illusion shattered with one late night phone call. I remember it vividly. It was just past midnight, and I was cramming for an exam when my phone buzzed. Melissa's name lit up the screen. I answered with a smile, expecting maybe some sisterly check-in or funny story. Instead, what I got was her voice cracking with sobs. "How could you?" she screamed before I could even say hello. My stomach dropped. "Melissa, what are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb. I saw the messages, the screenshots. You tried to steal my husband from me. You told him he deserved better than me. You said you were in love with him." I froze, absolutely blindsided. "What? Melissa, that's insane. I would never." "Stop lying," she shrieked. "Tom showed me everything. You disgust me. You're dead to me." The call ended before I could gather my thoughts. My hands were shaking so badly that I nearly dropped my phone. For the next 10 minutes, I just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall, trying to process what had just happened. The nightmare only deepened when my phone rang again. This time, it was my father. His voice thundered through the receiver. "Son, I don't even know what to say. Your mother's in tears. How could you betray your sister like this?" "Dad, I didn't." "Don't you dare deny it. We raised you better than this. If you had a problem with your sister's marriage, you should have said something, not gone behind her back." I tried to speak, to plead, but he hung up on me. An hour later, my mother sent me a text that made me physically sick. "You are not welcome in this house until you admit what you did. I can't even look at you right now." That was the exact moment everything shifted. In less than 2 hours, I went from being Melissa's trusted younger brother to a pariah. No trial, no chance to defend myself, just instant conviction. And the cruelest part? I still had no idea what evidence they thought they had. Screenshots? Fake messages? None of it made sense. All I knew was that Tom had whispered something into my sister's ear, and she had chosen to believe him over me without hesitation. That night, I barely slept. My phone buzzed nonstop. Angry texts from cousins, even a furious voicemail from an uncle I barely spoke to. The family grapevine worked faster than wildfire. Everyone already knew I was a snake. By sunrise, my life as I knew it was over. The morning after that call, I woke up to more than 20 messages. For a second, still half asleep, I prayed it had all been some bizarre dream. But no, every notification was another nail in the coffin. Melissa had sent a group text to the entire family. In it, she said she had proof that I'd been pursuing her husband and trying to sabotage their marriage. She didn't attach the supposed screenshots, but she didn't need to. My family has always had this toxic streak. Gossip spreads faster than facts, and drama gets eaten alive. By the time I checked my phone, I was already the villain in a story I hadn't even been allowed to tell. My cousin Jenny's text read, "I always thought you were weirdly close to Tom. Guess I was right. Don't bother coming to Thanksgiving." Another message from my aunt, "I don't know how your poor parents can show their faces in church after this. Shame on you." I sat there in shock, scrolling, my chest tightening with each new accusation. It wasn't just disbelief, it was rage. How could people I'd known my whole life, people who'd seen me grow up, turn on me in less than 24 hours? I finally called Melissa back. She answered on the first ring, her voice cold and cutting. "Melissa, please, just listen to me," I begged. "Whatever Tom showed you, it's not real. I didn't send him anything. I would never." "Shut up," she snapped.
You always hated that I was the first to get married, the first to have a real life. This is your way of trying to ruin it for me. Admit it. I couldn't even breathe for a moment. That's what she thought of me? That I was so jealous of her I'd go after her husband? Melissa, you're my sister, I whispered. I love you. I could never do something like this. Her voice cracked, but it wasn't with doubt. It was with fury. Don't call me your sister. You're nothing to me now. The line went dead. That week was the loneliest of my life. I skipped classes, locked myself in my apartment, ignored the pounding headaches and nausea that came from crying too much. Every time my phone buzzed, I flinched. Part of me hoped someone, anyone, would message me to say they believed me. But no one did. Not a single person. When I finally mustered the courage to call my parents, my mother answered. Her voice was icy. Mom, please, you know me. Do you really think I would ever try to hurt Melissa? She sighed. Sweetheart, I want to believe you, but Tom showed us things. Screenshots don't lie. Screenshots can be faked, I shouted, desperate. Check my phone, my computer, anything. There's nothing there because I didn't do this. There was silence. Then my father's voice boomed in the background. He's just trying to cover his tracks. Don't let him manipulate you. That was it. My own parents, the people who were supposed to know me better than anyone, had already made up their minds. In less than a week, I went from being part of a family to being cast out of it. I wasn't invited home, I wasn't spoken to with love or even pity. I was treated like a criminal who'd been caught red-handed, except there was no trial, no evidence beyond some manipulated images. It felt like being erased.
For the first time in my life, I realized that blood doesn't always mean loyalty, and that realization cut deeper than anything Tom could have ever done. After that week, I stopped trying to convince anyone. It wasn't that I'd given up on the truth. I knew the truth. But the exhaustion of shouting into a void where no one wanted to listen broke something in me. I realized there was no winning against a family that had already decided I was guilty. The next few months were hell. Melissa filed for divorce, and in her petition, she cited irreconcilable differences caused by an inappropriate relationship between spouse and family member. She didn't write my name, but she didn't need to. Everyone knew who she meant. That document made its way around town faster than wildfire. I couldn't even walk into the grocery store near my parents' house without hearing whispers. I remember one encounter vividly. I'd gone home to pack some boxes from my old room. My parents had allowed me to come back for 2 hours, supervised, so I could take my stuff. As I loaded my car, a neighbor walked by with her dog. She didn't wave. She just shook her head, muttered, "Shameful," and tugged the leash. That humiliation burned. I'd done nothing wrong, yet I was treated like a criminal, an outcast. And the people who were supposed to defend me were the ones sharpening the knives. I tried to focus on school, but my grades tanked. My professors noticed my exhaustion and offered help. But what could I say? Sorry, I'm failing because my sister's husband forged texts to make it look like I was sleeping with him? Who would believe that? Eventually, I withdrew into myself. I stopped attending family events. Birthdays, Christmas, Easter. Each one passed with photos posted on Facebook that I wasn't tagged in, gatherings where my seat was empty. At first, it crushed me. I cried every holiday. But over time, the pain dulled into something else, numbness. The worst moment came 2 years later. My grandfather passed away. I wanted to go to the funeral. I wanted to say goodbye. But my mother called me the night before and said, "Please don't come. It would only cause drama for everyone." That broke me. I missed my grandfather's funeral because my presence had become toxic. After that, I stopped checking in altogether. I changed my number, blocked most of my relatives, and built walls so high no one could climb them. I poured everything into my studies, into clawing my way out of the hole life had thrown me into. I earned my degree, found a job out of state, and told myself, if they don't want me, fine, I'll learn to live without them. And, slowly, I did. I met my wife at a company training seminar.
She had this laugh that lit up the room, and for the first time in years, I felt like I wasn't defined by my family's betrayal. When I finally told her the whole story, expecting her to look at me with the same disgust my parents had, she just shook her head and said, "That's awful. I believe you." Those 3 words, "I believe you," were everything. We built a life together. We married, had 2 kids, bought a little house with a creaky porch swing. I found peace in bedtime stories, in lazy Sunday mornings, in the love of a family I chose for myself. But even as I built this new life, the past lingered like a scar. Birthdays would pass, and I'd wonder if Melissa ever thought of me, if my parents ever regretted throwing me away, if they ever looked at their grandchildren, my children, who they'd never met, and felt shame. For nearly 10 years, the silence was total. I convinced myself it was permanent. Until one day, out of nowhere, the past came crashing back with a single email. It was an ordinary Tuesday when the email arrived, the kind of day where nothing remarkable is supposed to happen. I was sitting at my desk after lunch, half distracted by a spreadsheet, when I saw the subject line pop up on my screen. "You deserve the truth." For a moment, I almost deleted it. It looked like spam or maybe some phishing attempt. But something in me, the part that still carried 10 years of unanswered questions, made me click. Inside, there was a wall of text and several attachments, screenshots, scanned documents, even a video file. The email started with, "You don't know me, but you should know what really happened all those years ago. I was involved with Tom, and I can't keep this secret anymore." My pulse skyrocketed. My hands shook so hard I had to steady the mouse with both palms. The woman, apparently one of Melissa's coworkers back then, explained everything. She and Tom had been having an affair for months. When she started pressuring him to leave Melissa, he panicked. His solution? Create a scapegoat. Me. He used a fake Google Voice number, registered in my name, and sent himself messages that looked like they came from me. He used Photoshop to edit timestamps and merge real screenshots with fake ones. Then, he showed Melissa a curated set of proof that made it look like I was obsessed with him. The kicker? The woman included a video she'd secretly recorded years earlier. In it, Tom bragged after a few too many drinks. Melissa's dumb enough to believe it. Once she sees those texts, she'll never trust her brother again. It's perfect. He takes the fall, and I walk away clean. I sat there frozen, staring at my screen, my mouth dry. My heart pounded in my ears. For 10 years, I'd begged for someone to believe me. For 10 years, I'd been cast out like trash. And here it was, undeniable proof that I'd been telling the truth all along. I don't know how long I sat there before the tears came. They weren't the hot, angry tears of betrayal anymore. They were something deeper, heavier, relief mixed with grief, vindication tangled with rage. Because yes, I finally had the truth, but the cost was a decade of my life, a decade without my family, a decade my children would never get back with their grandparents. I forwarded the email and attachments to my wife first. Within minutes, she called, her voice tight but steady. "Oh my God, honey, it's all there. It's exactly what you said. I'm so sorry you carried this alone for so long." Her words were a balm, but they also reopened the wound. I didn't carry it alone. I carried it because my family made me.
The next step was inevitable. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I debated what to do. Part of me wanted to burn the evidence, erase the past, and move on with the family I had now. But another part, the louder part, demanded justice. So I sent it to Melissa. I attached everything: the screenshots, the scanned emails, the video file. I wrote nothing in the body of the message except, "This is the truth. I told you I never lied." I hit send. An hour later, my phone exploded with calls. Melissa, my parents, even cousins who hadn't spoken to me in a decade. Voicemails poured in. Melissa sobbing, my mother wailing, my father's voice raw with fury, though not at me this time, but at Tom.
The world that had condemned me so quickly 10 years earlier was suddenly desperate to drag me back into its arms. And all I could think was, where the hell were you when I needed you most? The first call I answered was from Melissa. Her voice was a broken mess of sobs and half-formed words. I didn't know. I didn't know. Oh my God. He lied. He lied about everything. I ruined us. I ruined you. Please, please, you have to believe me. I didn't mean. Stop. My voice came out colder than I intended. 10 years of anger pressed against my ribs, but I kept it steady. Melissa, you didn't just ruin me. You chose to believe him without even giving me the chance to explain. You made sure everyone else believed him too. Do you understand what that did to me? She choked on her own breath. I thought I was protecting myself. He made it all look so real. I was so scared and you didn't even ask me, I snapped. Not once. You just decided your brother was garbage and threw me away. There was silence on the line, broken only by her sobs. I hung up before I could say something crueler. Minutes later, my father called. His voice, usually booming, was shaky. Son, we saw the video. We saw everything. I don't know how to. We failed you. We failed you as parents. I can't believe we didn't. You can't believe it? I cut him off, bitter laughter escaping. I can. You believed a man who married into this family for a year over the son you raised for 2 decades. You looked me in the eye and told me I was a liar. You let everyone else treat me like trash, and now you're shocked? He didn't argue. He just whispered, I don't expect forgiveness, but please, let us try to make it right. Let us meet your children. I hung up again. Over the next few days, the floodgates opened. Emails, texts, voicemails, each one a variation of, we're sorry, we didn't know, we want you back. Melissa even showed up at my office unannounced, sobbing in the parking lot, begging me to talk to her. Security had to escort her out. She screamed my name as I walked away, and for a fleeting second, I saw the sister I grew up with, the one who used to braid my hair as a kid, the one who cheered at my high school graduation. But then, the memory of her screaming, "You disgust me," 10 years earlier, smothered that flicker of nostalgia. My mother sent a handwritten letter. She filled 3 pages with apologies and ended with, your children deserve grandparents. Don't punish them for our mistake. Family is family. I read it once and shoved it in a drawer. Because here's the truth. It wasn't a mistake. A mistake is spilling coffee on a shirt. What they did was a choice. They chose to believe the worst about me without a shred of hesitation. They chose to exile me instead of protecting me. And now they wanted to rewrite history, to plaster over a decade of pain with half-hearted apologies. I looked at my kids that night as they slept, their small hands curled around stuffed animals, their faces peaceful. And I realized I didn't need my old family. I had my own now, a family built on trust, not betrayal. When Melissa tried calling again the next morning, I didn't pick up. Instead, I sent one final message to the family group chat I hadn't seen active in years. You wanted proof? You got it. But I'm done being part of a family that only believes in me when it's convenient. Do not contact me again. Then I blocked every number. The silence that followed wasn't heavy like before. It was liberating. But the questions still gnawed at me. Was I right to shut the door forever? Or was I letting my pain define me just as much as their betrayal had? In the weeks that followed, the silence from my family returned. But this time, it was my choice. And that made all the difference. I'd catch myself replaying their words in my head. My mother's letter, my father's broken voice, Melissa crying in the parking lot. A part of me, maybe the child in me, wanted to run back, to rebuild what we lost. But the man I am now knows better. Forgiveness isn't a magic eraser. It doesn't undo 10 years of exile, of missed funerals and holidays, of my children growing up without grandparents because I was branded a liar. One night, sitting on the porch with my wife, I asked, "Am I cruel for not letting them back in?" She squeezed my hand. "No, you're protecting yourself and us. You don't owe them your peace." And she's right. I don't hate my family anymore. I don't even burn with rage the way I used to. What I feel now is colder, sharper, indifference. They made their choice 10 years ago. I'm making mine now. My family isn't the people who threw me away without a second thought. My family is the woman who believed me when no one else would, and the children who know me only as dad, the safe place, the steady presence. So no, I won't forgive them. Not because I'm cruel, but because I finally understand that some doors are better left closed. And this time, I'm the one holding the key.